No. Come on, where is it?
Dave, it's your Idaho Central app here. Any chance you're missing a debit card? Let's get that taken care of for you. With ICCU's card control, you can turn any card off with the tap of your finger.
You got it.
And back on again. Ow. The closest Idaho Central Credit Union branch is in your pocket.
It's the fall kickoff sale at Lithia Ford of Boise. We're going all the way so you can score more for your trade-in and trade up to a new Ford truck or SUV today. Visit Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho.
It's time for the Riley and Ridge Show, presented by Jackson's on Bronco Nation News. The Riley and Ridge Show takes you into the locker room and the coach's office, giving you a unique perspective on Boise State football from two guys who know a thing or two about what it takes to win on the blue. Combined, they have nearly 3 decades of coaching experience, none of which came from Riley Smith. But he played for the Broncos and won 52 games and 2 Mountain West championships during his 6 years. Kent Riddle won 7 conference championships during his 13 years as an assistant coach at Boise State and has 29 years of coaching experience overall. The Riley and Ridge Show is presented by Jackson's, where 25 cents from each hot dog sold goes directly to the Horseshoe Collective to support Boise State student athletes. Visit a Treasure Valley Jackson's location today. Now, here's Riley Smith and Kent Riddle for another edition of the Riley and Ridge Show, presented by Jackson's on Bronco Nation News.
What's up, Bronco Nation? Welcome back to another episode of the Riley and Ridge Show, sponsored by Jackson's. We're here outside at the James, and we are with 2 champions. We got former football coach Kent Riddle, and we got current QB Maddux Madsen and safety Alexander Teubner. Dude, appreciate you guys coming on.
Yeah, appreciate you for having us.
I'm sure this will be the most watched episode we've ever had because we got these 2 guys on here. Thank you guys for giving up some of your time. Thank you to Jackson's who going forward will be a sponsor of this again next year and also be sponsoring the post-game shows. So for football and basketball starting in January. So excited about that and appreciate their support. But yeah, mostly just fired up. You guys kind of, we were like, we're not going to bother any of those guys during the year, which I know technically the year is still going, but you do have a little bit of extra time this week, right? So, I think everybody probably at this point just wants to know your thoughts about where you're at, the season, like all that. And I'm sure the easy answer is not done yet, right? But
yeah. No, I mean, honestly, it's super fun. That's the best way to put it. Like, even today, we were able to just go out and practice, and like the bowl practices are probably the funnest time, just because like right now, especially we don't even know who we're playing, so we're not preparing for anybody. It's just kind of like a self-scout thing, and so that's the fun part of it. But you walk in every day, and everyone's got this big smile on it, knowing like, all right, we got a good couple of weeks to chill and regain our bodies.
Get a little competition going even already.
Lockout red zone. I remember that, dude. We would pull out all the trick plays and 2-point plays that we didn't get a run throughout the year, and we got to practice on each other.
Yeah.
That's the best.
Well, for both of you guys, like just how are you feeling? How the body's doing? Like physically, how you doing? I think emotionally, we know You're doing pretty good.
Yeah, my body's good. I'm in really good shape right now, so I cannot complain about anything with my body.
Yeah, a little banged up. Coming off a little knee deal, but should be back for the next one. Spirits, good spot. It's good to be coming to the facility every day. It's good.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we were talking last show. We were like, once you get in a game like this, no matter how injured you are, it's like you're gonna figure it out. Especially Tubes, like he's gonna go in the game.
Yeah, that was a major concern for everybody. It was Tubes.
Yeah,
and they're like, hey, look, if there's no doubt if anybody's trying everything they can to get out on the field, it's Tubes. And yeah, I'm sure with a little bit of time, we expect to see you out there, and it certainly won't be for lack of effort if you're not.
I got a good feeling about this next one. I think once the adrenaline and the atmosphere of that game kicks in, I'll be on a whole nother level.
Well, yeah, and just to be able to see out there from guys, Riley and I obviously been there since the start, since you walked in, and a guy that, not in a bad way, but didn't come in with a lot of hype or whatever, just like, hey, give me a shot and let me prove myself. And then I literally think like on day one of fall camp, it was like, oh yeah, he's gonna be all right.
Yeah, like for both of you guys, because both of you were like under recruited for your potential and how you guys are playing right now. Like, what would you say to all like the younger guys out there that are maybe in the same shoes? Like, how did, right when you stepped on campus, because I noticed that as an older guy, like the intent you had and the different stuff that you were doing to separate yourself, what were some of the stuff that you were mentally thinking about having to do on a daily basis to be able to be where you're at now?
I'll say for me, like, don't chase instant gratification, right? We live in a world now where everyone wants things now and they want it to go their way now. There's lessons learned in the process. Like I was so far away from my goals and where I'm at now, but I knew I was in the right spot. They preached the same values I grew up around, and I had a great coaching staff, just great this culture that this place is built years before I ever got here, and I just trusted the process, and I knew that it would work. I just had like a blind confidence that it would work out at some point, and along the way, I learned a lot of things that made me better than I thought I'd ever be. So
for sure.
Yeah, for me, I think Tubes just said it. Like, a big part of it is patience. Nothing's gonna come instant the day you walk in. Like, if you expect to be in the first group when you walk in, you're dead wrong. You'll find out really fast you're dead wrong. But also, too, like, I think you just said it. Like, people notice and coaches notice doing correct. Like, if you're doing things correctly, you're gonna get better opportunities, more opportunities, and taking advantage of those opportunities is what initially is going to help you down the road.
100%. Like
really, go ahead.
I was going to say, like, that trust factor that you build with the coaches and the players around you by being consistently on top of your stuff, and like you always know that we can hold you accountable. If you do something wrong, you're going to take that and move on, and you're not going to ever do it wrong again. So like that was something I noticed as being an older guy, being able to like coach you at some points, and you would just take it and come out and like do it twice as good as I even said. So that's pretty sweet.
I was actually just going to say, as much as you're not ready to be in the first group every day, like really your worst nightmare is actually being in the first group, especially
as
you guys
quarterback,
at quarterback, because you got like 10 guys looking at you like, come on, man, help us out. Or, or you go in there at safety and you got to make all the calls and everybody's looking at you like, hey, it's funny because I think everybody from the outside has this perception that like great players come in and they just line up and start. And then all of a sudden you realize like, that's my worst nightmare, is going out there and having to do that on day one. Cause you don't have the skill set built to be successful doing it. You're kind of just out there trying to survive a little bit on day one. And then obviously the fast learners move up much faster.
No doubt. We got a lot of questions about both your guys' mustaches. Has that been the key to this team's victory?
I don't think it's hurt. Everyone wants to leave their mark on Boise State. I think I've done so. You see a lot of mustaches walking around the facility. Brandon Hawkins is probably the guy I stole it from, but he's not here anymore, so I'm going to take all the credit.
For me, I don't think I followed tubes because this is 21 years going strong.
No shave November forever.
Exactly.
The best mustache might be a great debate. Like who in the building has the best stash? The beard, I don't think that's probably not really a contest. I think DJ just walked away with that
DJ's
one.
was legit. Coach Hogarth was
Thinking
up there
about
too.
bronze in his beard.
What about I saw an interview of Coach Keene, and I had no idea he
He's
did
got a
that
good
to his
stash
face.
going.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
got
Oh,
a
yeah,
handlebar stash, dude.
He's got a great stash going. Yeah.
Oh, it's
You got to
nuts.
thank Mrs. Keene for putting up with that one.
Has to, yeah, has to.
I do believe Coach Keene and I think Coach Montgomery were up for like Coach of the Year for their position groups. Everybody on the Broyles Award failed miserably because Coach Cutter was up for that, and somehow I can't believe it didn't make the finals. I was like, really?
Me neither.
Really?
Yeah,
How does that happen?
insane.
It's probably all the people bitching about running up the middle
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's
for
exactly
2,500 yards.
Yeah,
Yeah.
our fault.
That's what on this show we were like, Coach Cutter knows exactly what he's doing. Like we're in the best hands possible. We don't have to worry about anything.
When you're averaging 30-something, 40 points a game, who cares what you're calling?
Yeah,
Like, it's
Exactly.
obviously-
Yeah.
Oh, you'd be surprised though. And every week we got to try and tell people, like, really, you're going to sit here and debate that? Like, the guy's literally forgotten more football than 100 people we could put together would ever know together.
Yeah.
And yep, some guy sitting on his couch is complaining about that.
Yeah.
Whatever.
What's been the vibe like in the facility? I mean, I know we've been a part of like a championship team where it's like that, but that's like the kind of the end of it besides a bowl game. But you're like, that was the peak moment. Like you're feeling great. Now it's like you hit that moment and you keep having more opportunities. And then along with obviously the Heisman stuff as well. Like what's like the feeling around the facility right now?
Yeah, I mean, you look at like the comparisons between this year and last year. Last year we won the Mountain West Conference Championship. And we're like, all right, we're gonna go to the LA Bowl. But
Yeah.
you normally look at these bowl games, it's like, all right, we get a week in LA, like let's go mess around, and then we're gonna play some ball for fun. But like now that we're actually playing for something other than just like a win in a bowl game, like
Right.
we're playing to keep playing. Like it's win or go home
For
at
sure.
this point. So everyone's like, it is taken more serious than last year, and I'd say that.
Yeah,
100%.
definitely.
And I'll add, like, on top of just the excitement of what we got going on the field, like, it kind of carried over starting really last year with, we talked about how tight that team was. And you could say the same thing, honestly, maybe even more so this year. Just like, there's really no cliques in the locker room. Everybody's friends. I mean, it kind of even extends beyond players. Like, I mean, relationships we have with staff, trainers, weight coaches. It's a pretty special thing to see, and it makes it fun coming in on it.
Dude, it does. That's the coolest part about football. Like last year, like you said, was probably the closest team I've been on in my career. And it was like you're walking around talking to the DBs, like the O-line, D-line, and everyone's just boys and like doing stuff outside of the facility too. Like we were talking about poker night or game nights. Like, dude, that's the stuff that I remember for sure being done with ball right now. So no doubt.
So what's the schedule like this week? We a little bit of practice. You said already back at it. Self scout. Probably looking at a little bit at some film on both teams.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's like this week we're gonna practice. We practice today. We'll practice tomorrow, and tomorrow is gonna be like a more mixed down emphasis, and then Friday we'll just lift. But then next week we'll actually get into like kind of semi game plan things. A couple days of Penn State, and then a day or two of SMU. And it's just like it's a weird position. You really like, have no idea where you're playing. That doesn't happen very often. Of like, you've got to come up with 2 game plans. But it's been pretty chill. Like I said, the bowl practices are like you're practicing and it's serious, but the other vibes of it, no school, it's chill. It's fun.
Yeah, I mean, it allows us to like improve, like, rather than game planning another opponent. It allows us to improve on things that we may not have gotten the chance to over the course of the season. Kind of we talked about earlier. Like just self-scouting, improving basic fundamentals and stuff that
Literally going back to like day one fundamentals,
really,
right?
it's similar to like our fall camp practice, except maybe a little lighter. It also, having the time allows guys that, accumulated all these bumps and bruises over the course of the season to feel fresh for the next one.
And one of the best things about especially probably these early practices, the young guys are probably getting out there and getting some stuff, and as older guys, you guys helping coach them a little bit. And at some point, we'll get the Bronco Bowl going, I'm sure. And
oh yeah, have you guys haven't done that, huh?
No,
this
we
year?
haven't.
Yeah,
But
dude,
we haven't done like even the last half of the season. Like, we didn't really do like developmental scrimmages. It was kind
Oh really?
So it was.
Well, it's hard because you don't necessarily know who even can play in them, right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
But now you at least have a little bit of an idea, and that was always one of the most fun things I thought about bowl practices, especially the early ones, was just watching all the young guys, and more than watching them on the field, it was about watching the old guys coach them and cheer them on and help with all the different stuff, and shoot. I mean, I think Tubes actually, you may have been the MVP one year.
Tubes lit me up in the Bronco Bowl.
My freshman year. I can't remember exactly how it went down. It's between me and Crow back when Crow was a linebacker. But I remember that.
I remember that.
Those are fun, dude. It felt like we were playing in like the college football playoffs. Like your pressure was so high.
Trophy. You get the trophy.
Yeah,
Everyone's like, offense would lose, and it's like, gosh, dang it.
And it's like 10 plays. I remember studying those over and over again.
I remember taking this little plastic trophy and we're just kissing it, passing it around. Like we just won the national championship.
Pre-COVID, of course.
Yeah.
That was legit, dude. And then like DJ's like calling the defenses last year and stuff. Like, dude, that was,
offense won last year.
oh yeah. Brought it back. It was a little drought there for a while, but
No, but that's seriously one of the more competitive things.
it really
probably
is.
going on early in bowl prep is getting the young guys, whether it's a 10-play, team period or all the way up to the scrimmage, whatever. I mean, at this point, that's probably one of the most competitive things going on. The rest
For
of it,
sure.
you're working fundamentals, and then when it's good on good, like it's go time, but that might only be a few plays.
Yeah. Are you guys going to do the jersey swaps again this year at some point?
Yeah, I mean, I guess this bowl week would be the week to do it.
Yeah.
But
maybe beginning of next week too.
I mean, it's supposed to be like your last practice, so we probably won't do it until like February then. If that's
Perfect.
I think technically it's supposed to be the last practice here.
Yeah, that's true.
So you do it before
that is true.
before you guys leave to go to Arizona.
Yeah.
Who are you guys going to switch with? Got any plots?
I like to switch with the D lineman. Give him my small jersey.
It's the best.
Herb wearing my small jersey.
Dude, I switched with Scott, and I had to tape it up. Like, it was, dude, massive.
Yeah, I remember I switched with Garrett Curran last year and put a towel on my pads like it was a neck roll.
Oh, yeah. Tape the fingers. You got
DK one up me. Was that last year or the year before? And he got the actual collar. I was like, I thought it was a clever. This year, imagine a receiver with a freaking cowboy collar.
Give us just one good story, kind of from throughout the year. It doesn't even have to be football. Could be whatever. Somebody's going to type in and ask that anyway.
All right, story. Hold on.
Could be a practice. Could be anything. Doesn't matter. Best meal you had all year.
There's probably stories I could talk about. I don't know if I should let it lead.
You got more football.
We sit down Wednesday nights, have dinner with Coach Miller. I don't know if I could share half those stories.
That's the best, dude. And just hearing about the old school, their stories too. That's why we like the show, because we'll have old school guys come on and we'll just exchange stories, and they're a lot similar. We do the same exact thing. It's hilarious, but yeah, there's probably not a lot to be said.
I can't think of just one story off the top of my head, especially.
Okay, I saw it come up in the opener there. Then how's your golf game prior to the season? How is that progressing over the summer?
Like a 4 handicap. I don't know why that's funny.
I saw your reaction when you saw some golf on there. So
play for the love of the game, which by about hole 6 or 7 kind of turns more your competitiveness kicks in, and then the clubs start getting thrown typically around 13, 14. And then after that, it's just triple bogeys or did not finish from there on out. So
The best is when you threw your club and it got stuck in the top of a tree, and we're all our dumb asses trying to throw other clubs.
Yeah. So well, that was about what, hole 14, 15.
It was about right in that
there we go.
area.
That was 18. A long time.
We were
I
by the
remember-
clubhouse.
I remember see the clubhouse in the background, and
We're gonna get booted.
It was probably about the 4th time straight, and I don't use a driver. I use like my lowest iron. So I think I have a 4 iron in my bag, and it just didn't ever leave the ground. And just kind of out of frustration, just to let it loose, I just let the club twirl. And they must make these clubs aerodynamic or something, because this thing is about 40 yards away.
Further than the
It
ball.
like flew. Like it didn't.
out of there.
It wasn't thrown. Like it like kept climbing. So we pull up the carts, and then Riley's throwing his cheapest clubs up there, and everyone else trying to get it down. Eventually came down.
They come down.
Yeah.
We got it.
Those are exactly the kind of stories.
There's your story.
Yeah, those are probably the best stories, are the golf stories.
And who was that? Boise Ranch? Was that
Yeah,
one?
that's Boise Ranch.
Sorry, Boise Ranch.
Who is the best golfer? I believe I know the answer.
Mad Dog's up there for sure.
I'd say
When he goes barefoot, it's just adds some more power to the swing.
I actually didn't golf barefoot this year, which was sad. I got to get back into that group again.
Yeah, that's the best.
I'd say our best two were between Mad Dog and Luke.
Luke Voorhees
Voorhees.
is good. Voorhees
Oh
is
yeah,
good.
Luke is legit.
That was going to be
Yeah,
my
he gives
guess.
us
I knew
free-
Mad Dog was pretty good, but
He's got
Free lessons.
Yeah, I was gonna say, he's the high school golfer. Like,
Yeah,
He's just so consistent.
he is, dude. He even did the longest drive contest for one of these golf tournaments and went out there, and they're like, who's your best golfer? And it was unanimously Luke, and he went out there and got to send some bombs. But there's another good question in there about, I remember it was, if Tubes went, if you guys did Oklahoma drill, you versus Ashton 10 times in a row, what do you think your win percentage would be?
So is the goal just to get him on the ground?
Just on the ground.
It doesn't have to look pretty.
It does not have to look pretty.
Now, I take a lot of pride in my tackling ability.
Exactly.
But at some point, you got to give credit where credit's due. Try to tackle the best player in the country. Yeah, I don't know. I like to give myself credit, like I'm gonna,
Get a
battle,
couple at least.
but I mean, he's definitely gonna win some too. So.
For sure.
Mad Dog, I'm sure you saw it. I happen to be standing right next to Riley, but the run before halftime, that safety, that had to be his worst nightmare, right?
Yeah.
I mean, all of a sudden you see it open up,
Space, and then
the
it's like,
guy's like got literally 10 yards to close and
Yeah.
try and bring him down.
yeah,
And it's just like, there's no way that's going to happen.
Yeah, I was about to
good,
talk
good
about-
luck. You're out of luck for that
You
one.
must have had the perfect view on that. You
That
could
was
see
it.
I
it
do have the best view. I sit and I'm like, yeah, you're not tackling him. You
Well,
got no chance.
Rid, it is terrifying. Let me tell you another story. So spring game 2 years ago, we all knew Ashton was good.
Yeah,
We didn't know he was Ashton. So
absolutely.
We're in a cover one. We're man post safety. I'm up in the post, and just the A gap, boom, just opens up, and there's nothing but me, 30 yards of grass, and Ashton Genty, and I got there, and then I got my head bounced off the ground. So it's not a situation. It's not fair for any DB to be in that situation. It takes a total defense play together to tackle.
No doubt.
Yeah.
You better know where your help is, right?
Yeah.
And you better have some help.
You're in trouble.
I think about like that play against UNLV, obviously, and kind of open things up a little bit. The screen pass against Air Force the year
Yeah.
before.
Oh yeah.
The one guy out there, I'm just like, touchdown.
Yeah.
You just tell right away, like they have no chance of bringing
And
that
then
guy
the
down.
DB's thinking about it too. He's like, "Oh, I'm screwed, dude.
You
This
know that
sucks."
just in the back of his mind, like I have no shot.
Nothing.
But he'll stand up and talk crap. It's just
Yeah.
DBs.
Yeah, right.
Well, maybe that's a good question. What rank the best runs?
Ooh.
Best
Number one run of the year was probably Mad Dog going for 50 against UNLV, right? That was probably the best run of the year.
I don't know until I blew it and tried to go somewhere else, and so I just kept running straight.
Hindsight, we always see
would
that.
have been a 70-yard run if I just ran straight.
How about Von Banks pick 6? It's got to be somewhere on the list.
Absolutely,
That was
no
sweet.
doubt.
San
That was
Jose.
sweet.
And then Ashton's probably the other 8 out of 10.
I love seeing Mad Dog run though, dude. It's been firing me up because I always said you're just like a Tim Tebow out there. Like you'll like look to the right, like on your touchdown. You look to the right, and then you saw the hole, and you just cooked it, dude.
That was awesome.
Yeah,
That was legit, dude.
How about
That's been fun.
You said something, made me think of something though. But how about Shea on they're obviously trying to get back into the game and whatever. And my man Shea Oladipo goes and tracks the guy down out in the open field, and gets him way down there. And then the D comes up freaking huge, and not only not holding him to a field goal, like gives up none.
No points. I mean, the situation in the game, play itself, and what happened after the play. Like I've never seen, in person at least, never seen a better maybe play ever. Absolutely not a better hustle play. Like
No question.
talk about the plays that win games that don't get talked about. Like that's a play that wins the game. Because now we're looking at
Well, we're going to talk about it here.
maybe 2014 game. Now it's one score and it changes a little bit. So
No doubt.
I mean, like
He was cooking.
I know the team knows how great that play was, but I don't think people realize.
I hope everybody does,
Yeah.
because that was an unbelievable play. And even Maddux, from your standpoint, from the offense, like what'd that mean to you guys?
Yeah, when you have like a long explosive touchdown like that, it's almost like, oh shoot, like especially like when the game's getting like close and momentum's kind of in a way shifting. But like when you're sitting down there and he's toxin, like everyone looked at each other and was like, that's gonna be one of the biggest plays of the game. And then like you said, no points compared to it's such a game changer. Like it was like honestly that was probably the biggest play of that game.
And you guys did a good job of, one of the things I think we always used to talk about, but not going 3 and out, punting it right back to him at the 50. And, you guys drove the ball out of there, got a couple first downs and flipped the field on them. And I think went to halftime, right? Yeah. I mean, but, those are huge winning plays.
Yeah.
That
just killed the momentum of a big play.
Like Tube said, kind of go unnoticed, but you think about how much that can change a game and really change probably even the offensive philosophy a little bit in the second half, right?
100%.
Like you're like, hey,
and that
let's make sure we don't do anything.
That dude was probably thinking about that play. Like he was probably thinking about that play for the rest of the game. He's like, dude, there's no way I got hawked on an 80-yard. I would be sick, dude. Brutal. Nico said, what was your favorite game of the year? And that's my roommate, so shout out Nico. But favorite game of the year? There's been a lot of good ones, but
honestly, either Washington State or the Mountain West Championship. I would have to go to the Mountain West.
Yeah.
That place was electric. It was insane. And there's moments I was so hyped for it because it was just like so insane. And that was like the Wazoo game too. Like for me, that was the first home game. And I was like, holy, like this is extremely loud. And then for all the crap that happened with the UNLV quarterback, like I don't know where Boise is. And then for that to happen, I was like, yeah, that's awesome.
I didn't realize till after the game that when he got sacked, they would put up on like it would zoom in on Boise and show the location.
Sacked on the Blues.
That was legit.
I didn't realize what that was about until I think Mike Callahan explained it to me.
I was with YouTubes. I saw it and it didn't really mean anything to me. And then somebody was like, "Oh, there." I'm like, "Oh,
that's awesome."
Yeah, that was clever.
That was expert level.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you guys are obviously just out there playing, and it doesn't matter if it's a full stadium and empty state. Like you kind of got to bring it, but I think the full stadium brings a little bit more juice, right? And so, how about Jeremiah and Cody and kind of the whole athletic department staff for what they've done to make game day so special out there?
Oh yeah.
I mean, like we've seen Mountain West Championships on the Blue where like you fill up the lower deck and the upper is about halfway full, and that was 2019. That was another undefeated team.
Yep.
At home and through conference, and like what Jeremiah has done and his staff through last year and this year is absolutely incredible.
Oh, it's phenomenal, right?
Yeah, and that's South End Zone. That is the loudest environment I have ever been in, and that's including Autzen, BYU when it sold out. That's the loudest environment I've ever been in to this day.
Well, we talked about it kind of going into the game, but how much if we maybe get an offsides penalty early on, which we did, right? But then just the fact that they can't get off on the snap count, and our guys are blowing by them at the start.
Yeah.
And then on offense, you get the kind of juice in between plays. Just, it helps you get your air back a little bit quicker.
100%.
Yeah, maybe that hit didn't hurt quite as much.
The adrenaline's even higher than it is.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the play we're talking about, Shea, that whole goal line stand started with was it delay a game or false like a pre-snap penalty? So I mean, that's just right there is a testament to how a home field advantage and our home field advantage can impact that game.
Absolutely.
What's your favorite game?
From this season was the Mountain West Championship. Now, obviously, I wish I was in a better spot where I could have played in it, but I mean, just everything this team set out to do and to accomplish it at home like we did against another good opponent is that's why you do everything in the offseason for those moments right there.
Yeah, and we talked about it last show. Like, it's hard to beat a good team twice. Yeah. Really three times from last year, and they were coming for vengeance. And the way you guys came out, like, there was after the first drive, there wasn't a question in my mind, even before. But saw how you guys came out and attacked it. I was like, oh, it's over. They're locked in. So that was pretty cool to see. But it's going to be awesome. Another Fiesta Bowl for Boise State, so we can keep the tradition going. Like, I was excited to be that we're able to play there, because the amount of people, like old football guys, that said they're going to that game is insane. Yeah, is insane. And you guys better hide your tickets.
Bronco Nation to be well represented there
for sure.
And I'm sure whoever we're playing will have a decent crowd. It'll be, one of those games that's probably loud the entire game. It'll be a fun environment, though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And you guys will have an awesome week.
Yeah.
Staying up there at the Fairmont in Scottsdale. Yeah.
New Year's Eve.
And obviously you're there for business, but there's some pretty cool things that go along with the game, and just to be able to be with your buddies and eat gourmet hotel food for a week. All that stuff. It'll be you guys will have a great time, and they'll. I will tell you this: they do it first class. The Fiesta Bowl, you guys will have a blast, be well taken care of, and it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, if you're gonna miss people don't think about it, like missing Christmas and stuff. If you're gonna miss Christmas, this is the way to do it.
Absolutely.
No hesitation. Like, I'll miss Christmas, I'll miss New Year's, I'll miss my next 100 birthdays if I get that far. But there was nothing I'd miss for this game.
Yeah,
no doubt.
It's funny because, like, even when you start a season, like, sometimes it's like, oh, like the last 2 years we've got like the first bowl game, and it's like sweet. Like, after the bowl game we go home, and now it's like we were like praying that we play longer. Like, put us 31st.
I know.
First,
because
you want to go back, get on the charter, and get back to Boise and get ready for the next one, right?
Yeah.
You don't care about the rest of it.
Exactly.
There'll be time for that when the season is over.
Yeah. I got a question. I sit by your dad a lot in the stands. Yeah. And we get to talk a lot. I know he watches the show, so appreciate you, Mr. Teubner. But he said, I asked him this. I was like, because he played DB back in the day. Yeah. And I asked him who the hardest hitter was, and he says he thinks he's got you on it.
Yeah, so I believe him because, well, first of all, he's the one who taught me how to play the game. So I played more or less, I'm grown, but I've been playing the same brand of football since I was just starting. But my dad will post something on Facebook, and he's got high school teammates, and their comments, like, without fail, are boom, like, across the screen. And this is like, and I played in Houston. There's a little bigger time football than I played, but like, without a doubt, he can have that one.
Yeah, dude, he's so fun to sit by because you can see it coming out of him. Like, he gets fired up down there. But dude, it's definitely cool to sit by the families. I sat behind Mad Dog's family at the Oregon game, and they were turned up. That was you see all the blonde kids down there.
I've never seen a video from Kate Beresford on his Snapchat story. It's my dad. My dad's not like them. Look, it's like yeah.
Well, I mean, another funny story is like just kind of over the years, me and Mad Dog talk about this. Like our dads becoming like
best friends.
And
Dope.
And like Mad Dog will hear something that only I've told my dad, and I know directly the chain of communications. And he texted Mad Dog's dad apparently and said 21-0 at halftime. He's just an optimistic guy. Like last year when we were at that 0.1%, he mapped out exactly how he'd get there, and I just didn't want to hear it. I was just sick of it, and then he was right. So at this point, you just got to let him have it.
That's something that is pretty cool, and I think maybe more unique to here than a lot of other places. But it does happen at other places. But families become real tight, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because they're for 12 straight week, bye week, whatever. But they're together Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday morning, whatever. And really develop some long-lasting friendships that'll go on forever. And obviously, sounds like your two families, but I'm sure probably tighter with other families, and then same thing for other families, right? I mean, talk just a little bit about all the different people you guys have gotten to meet and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's crazy to me because all of my roommates, I'm like, oh, these are my guys. Our family is our best friends. We're always Thanksgiving's a big time. Roger and carry on. His mom will make us enchiladas, and everybody at the house eating enchiladas. It's that's what it's all about. And it's super cool to see even people outside. It's cool to see all these families that kind of are just cheering each other on. And, I seriously, it's funny how my dad will always be like, oh, Teubner said this, and I'll hear from Tubes that I said this, and I'm like, this chain we got going is hilarious.
Whatever they're doing, they got to keep that thing going because they're on to something.
Yeah.
How much fun was it to have Roger and Mason back?
Oh, that was huge.
And the guys that have filled in for him all year did an outstanding job.
Yeah.
But those guys, just the energy they bring.
Yeah, that's one thing that they bring a different level of the game. But those guys that filled in, you cannot forget those guys. Everyone else talking about Bronco Nation. You cannot forget about the guys that stepped in because they played such a vital role. Honestly,
I think both of them played in the championship game
and
too, right?
If TK didn't get hurt, he's still playing. Somehow rotating in that lineup because they are good. Those guys can play. They did. They showed it. But I think it's more the leadership aspect. You have a center that can sit and basically tell all four of his other linemen what to do. That's a different level of it.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I think that's what Mace brings. Then Roger I think Roger pushes Mason and Ben even more because that's a hard thing to do as a younger guy. Ben Dooley's been here for 6 years.
Yeah.
Mason's older than Roger. That's a hard thing to do for a young guy. I think Roger does that to those guys just because of the relationship that they build with each other.
And Tubes can appreciate this because you were injured at one point. But, the hard work those guys put in to get back out there, when I think both of them were they're done for the year, right after they got hurt. And those guys were no, we'll see. I'm going to work my ass off and give it a chance.
I mean, I think we always talk about leaders on the team. I think the greatest form of leadership is to lead by example. And I have seen injuries like that. We all have, and I have never seen two guys come back from injuries like that in the same season. I mean, I know you probably hear it from Coach D and little bits about it, but I mean those dudes are absolute warriors. And so when I'm going through my thing, every day I'm asking Roger, I'm asking Mason. I said at this point when you're how'd you start? How'd you manage this? When were you starting to push it? Because they led by example. I can copy and paste their blueprint. So I mean that's I look up to those guys and what they endured this year. And I mean we're far from finished, but yeah, I think it's just speaks.
Yeah, no doubt. As a fan and a guy that knows those guys, it was just fun to see them be rewarded to be out there playing with their teammates, and you can tell what that meant to them.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. You watch Roger like before a game.
I was just about to say
is
that.
This guy okay? Because he's seriously like, you can't tell if it's like he'll have tears coming down his face, but it's like he's ready to kill someone. That's probably why he gets personal foul penalties.
I would think exactly that.
Yeah.
It's insane. I was gonna bring that up. Like the first game, we came in and he's in the locker room, and all the linemen are freaking out. They're like, "Dude, I don't know what's wrong with him. I don't know if he's ready to go." But it was like him locking in,
Yeah.
and then he kept doing it every single game, and it's just that passion that like. And you watch him play, and you could tell,
Oh
dude.
yeah, I mean, it was
He's
like
chippy.
I can't even. When he came back from his injury, I think it was like the Friday practice or something like that, and he's like the same thing. I'm like, the amount of like love this dude has for football,
Yeah.
I've never seen in my life, and I love football. Like I could be like, I
Yeah.
love football a lot more than other people, and the amount of love like Roger has for football, I'm like, that is unmatched.
It's unmatched, dude. It's scary, but it's cool seeing him turn all those emotions out on the field.
Yeah.
It's legit. Are you gonna take all those guys out to eat next after
Yeah,
Ashton
I mean,
did?
everyone's talking about Ashton, but Ashton's got a lot more money than I do. I've been saving for a good couple months. I'll take those guys out. But I would. It's coming from my savings. Too.
Right? Yeah, dude. It means a lot
Ashton
more.
has a lot more money than I do.
And he even gets some stuff comp too, probably.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, for sure. Tubes, there's a good question that this started last year, and you were obviously one of the more vocal guys about having Coach D take over and be the coach, and made some big announcements like in front of the media and the coach and Jeremiah Dickey and all that stuff. And I remember us meeting with him as well. Like, how has that impacted the team? Because obviously he's one of the greatest coaches we've ever been around.
Yeah.
But that moment last year is kind of what sparked all of this to keep coming.
Yeah, and I mean, and Maddux knows that, like, I was fortunate enough to be in the, like, have the opportunity, have the stage, the mic to vocalize it in front of all Bronco Nation. But I'm confident that there's a list of people, if anybody else was in that situation, they would have done the exact same thing.
For sure.
So, I mean, it was far from me taking the reins on that one by any means. Like, I was speaking on behalf of the team, because that's truly how the team felt and still does feel. So where I gained so much respect for like JD is like we sat down and met with them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, honestly, who knows if it goes a different direction had we not done that?
Yeah.
But it takes a lot of like respect and humility, and just to listen to the players and to have a sense of trust between the players and someone in such a powerful position. So that's one of the reasons why I respect JD so much.
100%.
And love that guy. But yeah, more so the fact that we were able to finish that season the way we did and kind of back up our whole campaign is how special.
It's kind of what we were playing for. Like,
Yeah,
towards the end of the
yeah.
year, we're like, we went in, met with Coach D. Like you said, it was nerve-wracking because he's top dog, and we were like at a round table, and we're like, dude, this is intense, and we all prepped our speech and everything. And but then after that, we're like, the words are just words. Like, now we got to put it in the action, and that was kind of who we were playing for, like, to be able to get into that position. So it's cool to see JD take a chance on that, and all the success that comes with it is just from kind of that moment moving forward and working for him.
And it's worked out pretty damn well, right?
It's worked out pretty
So
damn
far,
well.
yeah.
So
I
far,
would
so
say so. I mean,
Yeah. No,
like, you guys were younger when I was there, and then obviously, like, you were an old guy even last year, but like the leadership position, like you said, you're being patient, you're younger, you're working up as now the starting quarterback and being a senior. How have you guys taken over that leadership, and kind of what brand of leadership and style have you guys kind of portrayed to the younger guys?
I mean, for me personally, I'm not a guy that's gonna go hoot and holler at people, like, jump on people. Obviously, there's times where it's like, and my position is like specifically, I gotta go talk to wide receivers, tight ends, offensive linemen, and stuff about that. But when it comes to like a whole team aspect, like, I'm not gonna be one to stand up. I'm gonna be more that's like, I'm making sure I'm doing things correctly and doing the right things. And I think that's another thing that's partially earned. Like, that's not something that you can from day one step in and be like, oh, I'm gonna be a leader on this team. Like, I'm gonna do that. Like, that's something that is earned over time. And to me, it's one of those things, like, you can't really change from like the day you walked in? Like obviously there's a little bit more confidence, like the leadership ability, but like how I'm doing it is nothing that I'm changing. Like it's always been by example. And if you think that it's like I'm gonna go by example, then one day randomly just start like jumping on people and like yelling, like you're not gonna be liked like that.
100%.
I think the most important piece of any good leader I've ever been around is the sense of like authenticity. Like, don't try to be somebody you're not. And like, I mean, for me, I wasn't the vocal guy. Like Rid, you saw, right? Like that wasn't my role in the team, and it kind of came about naturally. But I think kind of like that process we're talking about earlier is like that process is where you earn the respect of your peers, your teammates. That's what makes a leader. Is like years or however long it takes. It's longer for some than others. You have to earn that role.
You got, it's come up here a couple times, but process is something you hear a lot from, whether it's talking to you guys in the building, other interviews guys are doing, legitimately, whether it's you guys or Ashton or Coach D or whoever, process, like it keeps coming up, and fans are probably like, what is the process? Like what is it? And it's literally like just doing things right all the time.
Yep.
And if you can't handle hearing the word process, you're gonna get burnt out real quick, like your first week as a freshman.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Last long.
But like what do you guys think of when you hear that, like the process? What does it mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, to me, the process is like, I think you could add what I mentioned before is like patience. Understanding that the core concept of life in general is nothing's going to come instantly. Like certain people expect stuff to just snap and like, oh, it's right there. Like the process to me is understanding like you're going to work for something, and that's when like your outcomes start coming. He talked about like not being outcome oriented.
Yeah.
Understanding it's going to take work to get to where you want to be.
Process, work.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll even add to that. I think it doesn't look the same for everybody, right? Like my process is very different than Ash Gentie's. That's not to say Ash Gentie isn't a man of process and handle things the absolute right way. But I mean, see a guy like who's become a great leader on this team is Latrell Caples.
Yeah.
Like he came in and he was in the mix early on, starting to much earlier than I. But and then he faced a different form of adversity with an injury, and he missed the whole all last season. And look at him now. But the thing with him is he just stuck to it, and he stuck true to like his beliefs. He didn't waver off that. So yeah, I don't think it's like a straight A to B answer for any.
I agree. Like everybody has a process and a plan till you get punched in the face. Like that's the hardest part about the process. It's like you set a plan and you're like, all right, I'm going to follow this. Like, and you start going down the line and it doesn't work out. You face adversity, and it's how are you going to continue to fight through that, and then you ride the ups and downs, but continue to stay disciplined and true to your day in and day out process. So it's cool to see that. Like last year we had all that adversity, fought through it, won a championship, and then this year, obviously there was still adversity, but it was more successful year throughout, and you guys still stayed consistent and didn't let all the external noise kind of make you feel satisfied or complacent. Like you guys kept pushing and trusting what you've been doing this whole time. So it's cool.
One thing is definitely part of the process. Both of you guys kind of hit on it, but it's work.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, to put it simple, work.
Work. I mean, you guys both said it. It's work, and you guys have worked your butts off. Really, since the time you probably figured out you wanted to be college football players, but certainly all the way up through this year. I mean, to watch the work you guys put in, whether it's off season, whether it's meetings, film, studying on your own, schoolwork, as dumb as that sounds, right? I mean, that's part of the work you got to put in to be successful. And you guys, this team in general, has handled it amazingly, and it's so fun to watch.
Yeah.
Some dude said he saw you in Target Mad Dog and he was blushing when he left. So he leaves that same effect on me, and I see him all the time. So what else?
When you brought up Latrell, his touchdown celebrations have stepped up recently. I'm just wondering who the team thinks is better. Somebody probably ask it. Ashton and T. Crow or Latrell's now?
I mean, the hard thing for me, if you add T-Crow into anything, dancing to T-Crow just might make you laugh at any moment. That's awesome, but it's cool to like see. I remember when you like spun the ball and
Dude, 15-yarder.
But now people do all the time. Like,
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I spin the ball one time and pick up the phone happy, and I'm getting bitched at by Coach Potter for getting a penalty. And then T. Crow and Ashton are doing TikTok dances in the end zone. It's ridiculous.
I remember 2019 at BYU. Octavius Evans goes. That's it.
15-yarder.
15-yarder. Now you got dudes like you said.
Unreal.
Coordinated dances.
The best is watching. I know him and Ashton are like doing those dances together. The T Crow's practicing all week long, and then Ashton looks so cool doing it, and then it's just T Crow.
Do you know, did T Crow win the fullback award? I haven't seen the.
I don't know.
I
He
don't know.
should though. That fires me
Oh,
up.
the voting's not closed. Go vote for T Crow.
Go vote, dude.
Vote for our guy,
Mullet man.
T-Crow.
And he's gonna shave it too. Did he tell you about that?
I
Said
mean,
after the
he already
season.
cut it, and I was
I
like,
know, dude. It makes me sad. I'm not even gonna recognize him. He's gonna look like the freshman T Crow I met. Who's another question in there was who's the best trash talker on the team? I kind of have my pick in my head.
any
But,
of the defensive backs.
oh yeah, I could just watching the game. I see a Marion, and like
Marion's pretty good.
someone will catch the ball on him and he still talks trash. I'm like, dude, I love him. It's-
Rod's pretty good too.
Yeah, Rod's always been good, dude.
But he always has something to say, like
Always. And they can't lose. Like no matter what you say back, they don't lose the argument.
Yeah.
Kel's pretty good.
Kel is good.
I'll trash talk Rod, and then he says something super quick. I'm like, all right, you win.
You won this
get
one.
that
We gotta do it with our play.
Chris
We-
Marshall's another good one too. Like,
Yeah.
he'll just be on the sidelines talking like for fun. Like that's his favorite
Yeah.
thing to do.
Dude, that's the best. Like we were talking about like bowl game and like we're doing lockout and it's just everyone chirping at each other. Like, dude, I miss that.
Except the O-line. They're just trying
Except
to
the O-line.
breathe.
They're trying to breathe through it. Mad Dog, another thing that is funny, everyone always talks about like how you see over the O-line or like your throwing lanes, and obviously you do a damn good job at it. And I remember like when I was playing, I would be running over the middle and I would just see the ball and I'm like, how the hell did he see me? Like, is there, I know when you're out there, like you're locked in and you definitely don't think about it, but is there a type of like strategy that you have to do to kind of see through the lanes to get to where you're going, or is it just natural?
Yeah, there's times that like I have to move myself.
Yeah.
Because honestly, a lot of the like I can throw over people, but there's sometimes like especially when guys start getting in your lap, like you
For
can't-
sure,
you can't
yeah.
throw over people. And so it's like, oh, I have to throw around people. But it's funny you say that because there's so many like wide receivers now. And
Yeah.
I didn't see him. Like, I just saw the ball.
It's
I'm expecting you to be the spot.
Yeah.
So that's it, right? It goes back to your preparation and trusting what you studied and knowing that that's what you're going to get and being able to put the ball in the spot and really believing they're going to be there. I think I saw a clip like Joe Burrow throwing, and people were amazed, like he threw the goal line comeback, fade stop, whatever, to Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
No, Jamar Chase didn't even look at, well, yeah, never, right?
It's just
Like if you're any good at quarterback,
Yeah.
the guy shouldn't be looking very
As
often.
soon as he's
100%.
open, he's not.
Yeah. but it's funny the amount of people that think like, well, he wasn't even looking. Like, yeah, if you wait, like you said,
Yeah.
if you wait that long, it's over.
It's awesome. What are you guys looking forward to? Because I know you're done after this year.
Yeah.
Mad Dog, you have another year. So not looking forward, but like, how are you? I guess for you, how are you planning to just keep the train rolling? Like, I know there's a lot of senior guys that'll leave eventually. Like, what's your plan going into next year? And like, all right, this is what we accomplished last year. Now we got to keep it going and keep this train rolling.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can look at it now as like everyone's done it.
Yeah.
There's people that have been in this situation and done what we've done. So why would we not like keep that going? Everyone knows what it feels like, but also everyone knows what it takes.
100%.
When I think a big emphasis, people like it goes unnoticed because nobody can see it. But like what we did in January, like
Yeah.
the summer, like that goes unnoticed, and so people know like the level of intensity of work that it actually takes to be at what we are. So I think that helps. And for me, I'm going to kind of hold people to that standard.
Mhm.
like I said, we all know what it takes. So why would we not do it?
Yeah, it's cool too because like every year it's a new team. There's new coaches, new players, and like a lot of these guys come in and they don't know what that standard looks like. And it comes down to guys like you that have been a part of it, and you have to be able to show them the ropes. And some people can't handle it, but then the guys that do become successful. And like you can see Camper coming in, and it's like he fit in perfectly, and he just bought into it. And it's pretty sweet to see like how the players and the past guys we've had on the show, they're like, we set the foundation back in the 90s or 2000s, and we still see you guys keeping that go forward. So
Yeah.
it's pretty sweet.
It really is cool, and especially in this, day and age where some teams you guys even played are half new team, and so to see it here where we have transfers making an impact and helping out, and we have a few guys that are transferring out of here, but the bulk of the team that's going to affect Boise State for years to come is already here, right?
Yeah.
And you guys doing such a great job of, bringing them into the fold and teaching them the standards and the process and, all that kind of stuff. I think it's really fun to watch and see that carry on. And it never hurts when a guy like Ashton is, such a great player and such a great teammate.
Yeah. Well, I mean, everyone's so caught up with how do you compete with these, I guess, Power 4 schools now with this bigger budget. Well, the answer is you don't. Like, you have to do things different. And I think the best thing that Coach D did was not change what Boise State's about. Like, I think this is the greatest opportunity ever in Boise State's history because before this all started, everyone thought they were a developmental program. Now we get to truly star in that little niche of college football. And I think, we continue to win. I think it's our opportunity to change the game and show that there's more than one way that this can be done.
Absolutely.
What do you guys think about the goalpost going down?
Yeah, I was a huge fan of it. Like,
I agree.
and I think the goalpost was fun and rushing the field, but when I got just attacked on the field and I couldn't move, I was like, I mean, it's as fun as I actually thought it was. But then I finally got to the stage and I see the goalpost start rocking. I'm like, yeah.
That's legit, dude.
Those students were drinking a whole lot of something, and it wasn't Gatorade.
It wasn't.
And you just smelled the alcohol breath. I think they were smoking cigars like they were on the team, and it was just whoa. And you're
The
like,
amount of guys that were actually in the river with the goalpost at one point, I was like, I hope everybody got out safely.
Oh yeah, that's that liquid confidence taking over there.
Oh yeah, they went and got it out of the river too. There's a bunch of frat kids, so it's probably posted up in a frat house right now.
Post Malone signed, right?
Yeah, I was walking out, like we have to walk under the bridge, and I was walking out, and I hear like a saw on metal, and they're under the bridge, like sawing and pieces of it, and then I see the Post Malone sign. I was like, I should have just went over there with them.
You should. That was legit. It's funny because our company went and fixed the new goalposts. So they were talking today. They were sending me pictures of how like mutilated it was, and had to take it out, throw in the new one. Yeah. And Coach D JD on Twitter, everyone was like bashing us for taking it down. He's like, we already bought it in advance. Like, this was the plan the whole time. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it was awesome though. That you guys alluded to it already and talked about, but the crowd was just unbelievable. I mean, so loud from start to finish. Everybody was there. See everybody, kind of celebrating together. It was a special time for sure. A lot of the fans that have been around here forever. People like myself been around here a long time. It was fun, and I hope you guys appreciate how much joy you brought to really the whole city, but especially Bronco Nation.
Yeah.
No doubt.
So,
I mean, I think I can speak for Maddux and I. Like, we've fallen in love with this town, and this place is awesome. This is where I see myself living in the future. So hopefully, you'll keep me when I'm done.
Tubes, you
football.
can take my spot. You can make it the Riley.
Yeah,
Tubes. No, you're staying here.
I'll get the mustache too. It'll be good. But
Maddux, you got to keep playing.
I'll keep playing.
This stash won't grow in for a couple more years anyway, so then you can get back on with us.
Oh, that's funny.
But cool, we'll keep it nice and short. We know you guys got homework and going back to practice tomorrow. Big week for you guys, but we appreciate you guys coming on, man. It means the world. It's good to catch up with you.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely, dude.
Thank you guys for coming down, and I'm sure half the people on there, I'm not reading all the comments, but people are probably asking, like, who do you prefer to play? Like, blah, 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 you know, whatever. And reality of it is, I'm guessing it really doesn't matter to you guys, right? I mean,
Put the ball down.
I think
Put the ball down.
Coach D's been saying nameless, faceless opponent for all year, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So I would assume that would hold true in this one. And
Yeah.
respect all, fear none.
Yep.
You know, all the kind of
One more
all
week.
the phrases that have the cliches are cliches because they're true, right?
Exactly.
Yep.
There's reasoning behind
Yeah.
it being said.
But no, I know everybody, hopefully half the city of Boise will probably be down there, but I'm sure everybody will be watching and cheering for you.
Absolutely.
And we'll show up and be loud. Yeah, and just appreciate what all you guys have done.
Yep.
You know, not only on game day, but, you know, guys that have been around, like, we know how much hard work you guys put into this. And obviously not just you two, but everybody else. And, you know, I'm sure Saturday night you guys will be probably watching ESPN at whatever time that is.
Yeah.
It's usually about 4
10
or
a.m.
5 here,
kickoff.
right?
That one.
No, the
Heisman.
Oh, Heisman. Sorry. Whoa.
He's a ball. He's a ball guy, dude.
Yeah. We're still talking about Ashton. God, get over this guy. Just
But,
kidding.
you know, obviously
I'll
that'd be a big night and pulling for him. And I don't think there's anybody in Boise that doesn't think he's the best player in the country. And hopefully everybody is smart enough that has a vote to see
To
that, like,
understand.
Oh,
how
yeah.
special it is. I mean, that's even a good question. Like, how many times did you look out there and think, like, yeah, they're giving us the run?
Yeah, never. Like, there was never, maybe on 3rd and 17 where it was like, all right, they'll give us a run play, but never.
Yeah. And to appreciate what he's done against that, I hope
Legit.
everybody gets that opportunity. But
Ashton for Heisman, baby.
Yeah. If there's a time to pull out your Twitter fingers, it's now. Everyone go support Ashton.
absolutely,
Bring it home.
no doubt, no doubt.
Yes, sir.
Well, thank you
But,
guys.
Yeah,
Thanks
love
to
you boys,
Jackson's.
dude. It's been awesome seeing you
Yeah,
guys
love
do
you
your
guys,
thing.
and
Yes, sir.
hopefully we
But-
didn't ask you any too tough questions.
That was pretty
No, you guys are money.
Cool. Well, appreciate you guys tuning in, asking questions, and we'll see you guys next week and keep it going. We'll definitely do one after New Year's with the boys because it'll be
I
after a
think
big
next
win.
week's Wednesday also because of
I
the
think so, yeah.
hoop game, but we got a couple Fiesta Bowl guys lined up
It's gonna
coming
be
up
awesome.
here in the next couple weeks. So
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you guys. Go Broncos.
go.